Hi guys, this is Tarkin coming at you with another episode of Minecraft. And all we're gonna do is plant some wheat. Do wheat things, you know the drill. And if you don't, then you're gonna be so excited by the drill. First, we wake up, as always, in the middle of a wheat field. I believe this happens to everyone in the morning. It certainly happens to me here. So we're just gonna need to travel along the wheat field, as one does. Searching for its termination at the moment. The ever-expanding wheat field. And, well, you know, if you've been here before, you know that we've got a little bit of a trek in front of us. Not too much of one, just a little journey. Just a little fun. We'll get there before too long. Why, even now I see lack of wheat, which is very exciting. That means we're getting where we need to be. Hooray! A place to plant wheat. You never know when you'll find one, and now we're here. Now this is like, I would call this among the most important places to plant wheat. Because here on the sides of cliffs, where people are unlikely to tread, that's the most valuable place. That's what separates the wheat fields from the wheat farms. Because this is about the beauty and permanence of wheat. This isn't about, you know, straight lines. There's plenty of time for that. Plenty of people can plant wheat the way that the game wants you to. But to be a total weirdo, just absolutely unhinged and unmoored from reality, that takes a special kind of player. At least that is what I tell myself. But there's nothing really to say about wheat that I haven't already said, which is comforting. You know, it's good at last to be finished with everything that I'll ever have to say. I'm just joking. I'm gonna keep talking the whole time about wheat and wheat accessories. Not really. I almost never talk about wheat. I should learn more about it. Well, I should read a couple of books about wheat, and then I could be boring in a whole different kind of way. Nice dream. I'm not gonna do that. I, of course, have just been, like, reading Hamlet again. Very little time for doing anything new in my life, since I love repetition so much. What is exciting? Ooh, I picked up a cart of Mario 64 and Super Mario Kart 64. I didn't say Super Mario before Super Mario 64, but it is part of the name. So my N64 collection is nearly complete. Very, very happy with it. Now I just need to turn it on. So this place is not perfect, right? We need to fill... we don't have to fill these places in. We could just ignore it and leave little cavernous areas there. It may be better to give it a little bit of a waterfall down, though, for aesthetics and to get out. We'll see. If I fall down again and die, then we'll address this whole question a little more intensely, with more gravity paid. I suppose we should go to where we have it irrigated, though. Oh wait, this is part of the is this part of the biome that we had stopped at? You know, it's fine. It's fine. We just expanded it a little bit further. I'm like, something's telling me that there's a specific reason why I hadn't planted there, and it is because the savanna is the favored biome. But you know, we were just bringing it over. We were just bringing it on home. I mean, it's fine to plant in the other area, and this land, you know, it's a little bit weird, and that reminds me I was doing some off-camera planting turn the graphics down, because really what I was doing was going AFK and going around and doing stuff in the house. Because wheat grows even when you're not around. But you shouldn't waste your graphics card, even when you're... You know, I don't know. I think the game is still running if it's still simulating the wheat, so... It makes me feel better to turn the graphics down. It doesn't matter. But I noticed that you couldn't see through the leaves of the trees, which... How horrifying. I shouldn't have had the bucket on my hotbar. Just trust me. Maybe your experience will be different than mine, but it's generally unwise to have water buckets on your hotbar if you're planting a bunch of wheat, especially with verticality, because sometimes you'll just be like scrolling through to get more wheat going down. You know, you're on a roll, and then sure as you're born, you'll just throw that water bucket down, and if you're on a slope, oh, you'll see the agony. You'll see how far one water bucket can go in Minecraft. It's way farther than you would assume. But been thinking a lot about what to do next. Because, like, I don't know. I actually think I'm kind of done with Hades. I was playing several runs, not on stream actually, and I was doing better than I was on stream, which makes sense because, you know, I was more focused. But it got me thinking, you know, what's the point? It was so fun to get a little faster and a little faster, and then now I'm thinking, well, I don't want to say I'm never going to be the greatest, so it doesn't matter, but I don't even know, like, what the Hades speed or anything is, but it's just, it doesn't speak times, but Hades was like, that was my bread and butter. I was playing it basically every day, so I need to find something else to do there. I've got New Vegas, but it's like, you know, if you don't have too long, can't play a game like that, or at least I can't. You got to have a couple of hours, or you can't even really get your teeth in to the wonderful steak that is the gameplay. But I need to get a controller, because there's a bunch of games that I think would be better with a controller. There's you know, I got some ideas, not really. I mean, my principal idea was, what if I just plant wheat in Minecraft? That's a thing that a person could do, and in fact, you know, it feels nice. But one can't only plant wheat in Minecraft. I shouldn't say that. It's probably possible. But I think I need slightly more variety in life, even if I can always come back to this, because it's the most important thing I've ever done. Alright, I'm really planting this field terribly, like a person that's never planted a field before. When it's in smaller areas, it's easier to pretend that lack of economy and motion is fine. But it's really every bit as deleterious to your efficiency as anything else. Because really, you're creating more zones of unwise behavior. Like right here, if I'm like, oh, it's just a band of 4. Well, if you turn around, you actually have these big, long lines that you can get out of it. And all of this is just a consequence of earlier carelessness. Or, you know, choices. Because really, we can just come back to a small section later, and it'll be relatively easy to be like, oh, okay, we'll fill in that little thing. But what I am trying to do is play games that people have recommended to me. Not just viewers, but like people in life, because I think I've related this anecdote before, but you know, like people have often given me like really good advice and recommendations in life. Some people are like, why didn't anybody ever tell me? But really, like people have very frequently given me good advice. And hi Natasha. So I'm trying to play more games that people tell me I should play, because very, very rarely do I play a game that people have recommended to me specifically and then thought, what's wrong with you? This is trash. But I had booted up Celeste, but I need to get a controller because mine is old. It's probably like a PlayStation 4 controller equivalent. I didn't have the system. I would have got it from like my brother, but anyway, it doesn't work so good anymore. I didn't buy it originally, but the game did not appear optimized for a keyboard and mouse. Anyway, I couldn't navigate the menus with a mouse, and that is my cue that I shouldn't be using a keyboard with it. Or that the game is very old. Any game that won't let me navigate the menu with a keyboard and mouse or a controller is a game that doesn't want me to play it. But I imagine a controller will navigate the menus just fine. Oh no, it's dark. I should be sleeping. I always forget this. It's terrible, terribly inefficient. You see, the wheat doesn't grow in the night. I mean, it would if I put down, you know, torches, but look, if I irrigate the field and put torches all over it, where does it all end, right? How much space am I going to take up that's not wheat in a wheat field? It's bad enough that the water's here, and it helps. Oh, that didn't work how I thought it would. We'll just throw it down there. That's not going to work either. Okay, I'll just put the flour here. There needs to be a trash button where you can get rid of an item by putting it in it. We'll just clear some land real quick. The straight lines are so satisfying. I'll never get tired of it. I might eventually get tired of it. I don't know. I can never anticipate when I'll be tired of something. But whenever you're farming a wheat field really extensively, and then you finally get to a point where you've got some nice irrigated land and nice straight shots where you can do like a whole stack of seeds, it's great. It's not that well irrigated. There's some holes in the irrigation. It'll be okay. I generally don't plant wheat and irrigate at the same time. I do either wheat first and then irrigation afterward, or a mass irrigation and then I plant wheat around it. There are many schools of thought on what the right way to plant a wheat field is, but gradually is the only answer. You have plenty of time when you're engaged in a project like this to think about how you could do it differently if you wanted to, but I don't want to. I like it this way. Sort of haphazard, you know, like me. Speaking of, oh, it was terrible. I forgot my bandana at work today, and I had to wear a hat. Oh, it was awful. I kept bonking my head into things. Just the bill of the hat, you know. I didn't, like, break any plates with it, but I shifted a couple of times because, you know, like, you lean down in the kitchen, and my nose is, like, large, but it's so close to my face relatively to the bill of a baseball cap. But I made it through the day with only minimal upsetness. But I will remember my bandana tomorrow. Oh, it was a series of unfortunate events. I felt like I was in a Charlie Brown movie about going to work. I'd put on my socks, and then as I was walking out of the door, after I had locked the door, I realized there was a small hole in the heel of one of my socks, and without me telling you this, you could probably guess already, that's not really the sort of thing that I find acceptable. Also, you get blisters that way, you gotta have good socks, but I also can't handle it. It bothers me. So I was like, alright, I will have to solve this. But then in the course of going back inside, I put my bandana down. It was a tragedy. And I had to wear a hat. I felt so ridiculous. I mean, not in the normal ridiculous way where, like, I'm a person with this mustache. I know I look silly. It doesn't bother me. But, like, I kept seeing my reflection and thinking, like, who's that dork? But it was me wearing a baseball cap. I mean, if you wear one, I don't mean you. I'm sure baseball caps look fine on you, but I think they're very silly if I wear them. I mean, I did play baseball as a child. Not well. I quit as soon as I was allowed to. One good thing about this field is it's really far away from civilization, which means we won't have a bunch of villagers and iron golems walking on it. But one bad thing about the field is that it's far from civilization, so wandering traders might get their llamas all over it. It's very upsetting when that happens, but it's just something that you have to prepare for. If you have a field of this size, NPCs will try to break it. And it's unbecoming to punish them en masse for it. Like, although for really grievous infractions, obviously everybody just turns a blind eye. now we're out of seeds, and we also might as well go and mend the hoe because it is, you know, in slightly bad repair. This will be a good opportunity to clear land. Sadly, the trader spawned close to the player. Well, yeah, that would be infinite leads. I may have related this before, but I thought when I first got the leads to drop that it was, I read it as lead, like the element lead. And I was like, why is it a little curlicue thing that indicates for lead? Is this like some symbolism that I don't understand? And I was like, all right, I guess this is how you draw the symbol for lead in Minecraft. And then much, much later, it was like a light bulb. Like, oh, lead. To lead. There's like a big old light bulb going off for an average size light bulb. Not much of a light bulb. I forgot that I don't have my swimming boots because they are somewhere else. Because, you know, we're walking around armorless here. So, in the tradition of armorlessness and lack of boat discipline, it's time to make a boat and then forget it later. Or not. This whole world is just strewn with boats. Nah, there aren't that many. I mean, more than I would call, like, easily rationalizable. But what is easy to rationalize? Good question. Everything. It's easy to make an excuse if you're so inclined. Not like I need to. I mean, like, is this the wheat field of a person who has the need to make excuses for anything? No. No. This is the wheat field of a person with vision. You know, with the curiosity of spirit. It's just so funny to me how large it is. I can't stand it. And none of these angles are even capturing it. Of course they aren't, because we're on a boat. Let's just get the cinematic shot real quick. We all know what it's going to look like. But let's just see. Oh my goodness, it's so beautiful. That's where we've been getting some seeds. And out there in the distance, all of the work we've been doing. But it's not much, you know. It's just right there. We still got miles to go. If I drop right here, you just got to do a little Pythagorean theorem to make sure that you don't go too far from your boat. I'm too far from my boat. It'll be okay. Our poor forlorn underwater golems. You know, they're very good workers. You got to give that to them. We're just going to drop by the old field of 1,000 cows and mend up the hoe real quick, and then we'll be right back to work. And now the best thing in the game, experience farming. You know, the good thing about experience farming is it doesn't take very long. All one needs is an amount of cows. Right here, we're using 1,544 cows. You can use however many cows you have at home for this recipe, but the ratio is what's important. So here, with 1,544 cows, you would want, 777 wheats in order to breed all of them. Now, that's a little bit more of a batch of experience than we're trying to make today. So we're just probably going to do several hundred wheats per cow and then call it at that. But, it does scale up. So if you're trying this at home and you have 2,000 cows or 4,000 cows, you can use the same wheat ratio. This is a good recipe for that reason. Perfectly scaling. Now, you do want to make sure you got enough room eventually. Any cow herd could become too numerous, but I don't think that's going to happen here yet. We still got plenty of space here in the hellish overcrowded conditions of the field of 1,000 cows, which is now the field of 1.65k. But who is counting? You can't just change the name of it just because you did a little cow recipe. But truly, their franticness is an inspiration to us all. Their beady eyes, their mottled visage, the way they glare at me like, please give me the wheat. Can you not see that I alone among the cows am worthy of more wheat? It's very sad, because with all of these cows, they're not all going to get to eat. As soon as we're done with this hoe, we're just going to leave them in here. And, let that be a lesson to the field of 1.7k cows. The farmer is never going to love you. And we'll just put our wheat up and get back to the grind. Goodbye, cows. You did a good job. You are the cornerstone of this whole operation. Without you, we would have to make tools more often, and that would be a tragedy. Actually had the comical field of cows long before I had discovered mending at all. I was just trying to get lots of leather. For, bookshelves, which I do have. And no, I have not done anything with them. Thank you for asking. They're in boxes, all 7,000 of them. Somebody left a comment. They said that they thought carrots looked just as good as or better than wheat. And it just goes to show how varied the human mind can be. And how possible it is to be wrong. To just, say wild counterfactual things like, I think carrots are better than wheat. I mean, have you even looked at this? It's alright. There's plenty of room in the world for differences of opinion. I actually have more wheat, but I was just going to farm a little bit more. More seeds, I mean to say. Obviously, I've got wheat for days. But if you're going to mow a bunch of rows, you might as well do, a lot of them, because otherwise you have to spend time letting them grow, or they just stand there forever, because wheat doesn't grow just because it's in your field of view. Maybe that's something they don't teach you in, Wheat Junior College, but here at Wheat University, I gotta tell you, if you're not close, it won't grow. You can look at it through a telescope from far away. Simply being perceived is not good enough. Wheat needs attention. It needs to know that you care about it. And the only way it can tell that, because it's a plant and it's not listening whenever you tell it, is for you to be around. And then based on, I don't know, something, electricity, probably, who knows, not me, the wheat will grow. And that's what this is all about, because if the wheat doesn't grow, then it's just seeds. And anybody could plant seeds, but not anybody could plant wheat. Alex Wheatseed, they'll call her, for all the wheat seeds she planted. It's funny that nobody listed this as a selling point to me in Minecraft, for all the many times people tried to get me to play the game. I mean, it also makes sense. Most people don't think I'm quite as strange as I am. So they wouldn't think to say, hey, if you play Minecraft, you can plant wheat 200,000 times. Because again, why would you tell anyone that? Would they need to know? Well, yeah. Yes, I would. But some of the greatest experiences in a wheat field, though, are what we're doing now. When you're like, okay, I need some more wheat, and you go to the few parts of the wheat field that are actually like intelligently designed and seem like they were made by a person who wanted to farm the wheat, and then you just get to peacefully walk in a couple of languid motions, getting a reasonable amount of wheat seeds, and then getting right back to your unhinged plan to cover the entire world in wheat. I mean, the honorable and reasonable plan to cover the entire world in wheat. Because I was really annoyed whenever I cleared all the land for this in the first place, but now I think, okay, yeah, good choice. Maybe an even bigger field would have been called for, but don't let's be silly, right? You can have too much of a good thing. Sometimes you need your wheat field to be kinda bad to remind you of what really matters in life. Now what's that? Wheat, right? That's the answer? Well, I sure hope so. It's sort of what I've been going for a long time. You know, I would look really foolish if it didn't turn out to be true. But it looks like night is falling again, and we know what that means. Time to lay the bed on top of wheat. And it's right back to it. I know I mentioned this before, most people probably know, but Fortune on the hoe does increase the amount of seeds that you get, and it does not reduce the durability of the item. So it is far and away the most important thing for the beginning wheat farmer. But once you have your initial investment made, it's all over but the planting, the harvesting and the planting, the replanting, and then the tragic thunderstorm incident of 2025. I mean, I know you're saying that hasn't happened yet, but it will happen. And we'll have to deal with it whenever it does. You'll know when it happens, don't worry. Full inventory, alright. Time to put the wheat into the box. The wheat, the least important thing in the wheat field. I mean, sure it's good, and sure you need the wheat, but anybody can tell you, after a little while, it's really all about the seeds. And the wheat is just a separate way of keeping score that nobody really cares about. Not even the cows care. They've already forgotten. Those cows don't even exist right now. I'm so far away, they're probably just imagining what it'll be like when I show up again. All 1.7k of them. Hello, Living Theater. Yes, indeed, wheat. Have you seen the wheat field before? Well, let's take a look. Since it's been 10 minutes. Isn't it cool? Ah, well, let's take the quick tour. So this is Wheat Mountain. You can imagine what's on it, but it's still very important to present everything. So, thank you. I'm glad you like it. So this is the end of Wheat Mountain. This was like the second phase of the wheat field, but since the narrative of the wheat fields is such that starting on this side of it is better. So, we got all the way on this side. You would not believe the amount of effort it takes to plant on the side of a mountain like this. Just silliness. But, so that's that. And then that farmhouse there. So this little thing in the middle, sort of in the crescent of the water, that was the original wheat field here. And then just like this right here. And I thought that it was a good wheat field. And then we expanded there and on the side here, and then that was like the first two phases, and then I was like, I'm done, but I wasn't done. And then I came over here, and we planted all of this segment. Everything on this side of the water was done in the last couple of months, but yeah, I mean, it's not so much, right? It's just what it is, and yeah. And we're going to eventually take over this whole biome and go all the way to the mountain where we will build a temple to wheat. But the masquerading of that was that I was actually just going to use it to cheat and fly over here, where I'm now going to plant more wheat. That's the sort of thing you can do. There are no rules when it comes to it. A wheater wonderland, indeed. A wondrous world of wheat. And that is what I have here. But yeah, it is what I do here. Glad you stopped by to check it out. Had a bad angle there. Sometimes you can have your angle a little bit too pitched up, and then you'll skip like way too many. of the ground things as you're preparing it for seeds. But I think here one of my problems is that the land's not really clear enough, so might need to do some in this direction or go somewhere else where we don't have to do it, one or the other. I know you're thinking, isn't one or the other sort of collapsing all of the possible things that could possibly happen? Well, yeah, it'll be one or the other. Not very exclusionary, but technically true. The best kind of true. Ah. I moved the tool on the hotbar. Always pretty annoying. Absolutely will mess with your planting efficiency. Which is not a real number. Oh man, I wish the game assigned you one. But this is not a farm simulator, this is a wheat simulator. Other farming games want you to do more than just plant wheat in a way that doesn't make sense and that is unsustainable and that also, you know, is hilarious. They'll give you rules and prices and, I don't know, blights. Do they have pests in farming video games? I'm not sure. Do they have invasions? Does Bowser come in and kidnap the wheat princess? Do you have to go try to rescue her from various places? That reminds me, you might be thinking, what's the best Mountain Goat song? Well, there's many schools of thought. So I think, you know, do I have a name for the wheat castle? No, so we're gonna make like a temple of wheat, but we don't have like a proper name for it yet. It's probably gonna look like the Parthenon because I don't have one of those yet. I've only been playing Minecraft like 6.5 months now, and so a lot of stuff people definitely all do, like build a Greek-style Parthenon temple. You know, like I haven't done that yet, but I also, you know, I've spent a lot of time planting wheat and also playing hardcore, so I didn't have time to do what everybody else did, like learn how to build small structures. But yeah, like it was called Wheat Park, but that was when it was a lot smaller. Because it could be like Wheat Chapel. That definitely could be a good name for it. There's a metal band called Whitechapel. That's oh, you know, they're pretty metal. They sound like metal music. If you like metal, you might like them. But you know, Wheatchapel does. That's a real good name. I've thought for a while that I need to start titling these streams better, but it's funny to me to have them all called just wheat. And I don't know if making wheat puns would be funnier. It might be though. I've thought of it. You know, pursuit of wheatiness. You know, just like any old thing, because Wild Wild Wheat. Just like all the beloved bad films of my childhood that starred Will Smith. Not that those are bad. I mean, Wild Wild West is bad, but like I'm not saying I don't like it. We had it on VHS and I watched it all the time, and I still think that it's funny, even if it's bad. You can ruin stuff by having standards, you know. That's what they don't tell you in film criticism class. Ravenous instead of Ravenous. It could be fun, yeah. is a good one. I need to do like a Scylla and Charybdis of wheat. One of them will have like 9 wheat heads out of the side of a mountain, like big old scary wheat tendrils, and then there'll be like a sinkhole in the middle of the ocean with a bunch of wheat at the bottom, and that'll be the Odyssey. You have to choose between the two wheat-shaped monsters. Because, like, a temple to Demeter would make more sense, you know, for grain, but I don't in my head have any, like, iconic images of a temple of Demeter, which I even like classical Greece rather a lot, but, you know, only a few of the great temples of the past survived without being totally ruined. And of those, by far the most famous is Athena's. But there was a temple to Artemis once upon a time that was a big deal too, one of the wonders of the world, but it is lost. But we know basically what it was like due to descriptions. The seedy sanctum. Be good. A world of wheat, where you spell world with the H as well. Plus, you get to do the fun, the world of wheat. Everybody loves a Family Guy reference. Cool Whip. And it's just such a fun way to say Cool Whip. I don't really use Cool Whip anymore. Once I started baking and learned that I could just like physically make whipped cream out of the ingredients for whipped cream in the comfort of my own home, and it's awesome, I don't really do Cool Whip anymore. But whenever I make the whipped cream myself, I do offer it to everybody as, would you like some Cool Whip? Because, well, it may be a registered trademark, but I'm allowed to claim that what I've made is that whenever it's in my home. And there's no proof of it except for me talking about it on the internet, which it could be a joke. Anyway, I'm not sponsored by Cool Whip because I don't think they're very good. And also they haven't offered to pay me. And also I wouldn't take their money anyway because I don't think it's very good. Cool Whip, if you're listening, do better. Not really, it's fine. I think whipped cream is kind of a hard thing to do well whenever it's not fresh. But I'm also not trying to sell it to people, so really my excuses aren't the ones that are important here. Bars in your court, Cool Whip. Must be terrible to be Cool Whip. You know, you go through your life, like you just finally got through Christmas. Everyone's already had like some things to say about you and you think it's done, and then along comes this guy, the most prominent voice in a generation, planting wheat in Minecraft and being just very critical of the quality of your food. And you have nothing to say about it because after all, I mean, he's a trendsetter, a tastemaker, a wheat planter, and you just don't have anything to do except wordlessly accept his critique. So take that, Cool Whip executives. No one's impressed with you anymore. I'm not normally this critical, but you know, I just don't think Cool Whip's very good, and I'm not afraid to say it. I know I don't need a medal for this, But if you're trying to give me a medal, obviously I would take one. And you can give one to somebody else as well. You know, that way it won't look like you're playing favorites. We can do two individual medals for, like, acts of bravery against Cool Whip. I don't know. We can figure out what we're giving him for later. What I'm saying is I'm willing to accept it. It's not that Cool Whip's cheap. Because plenty of cheap things are good. I love Pringles, I love Fudge Rounds, I love Reese's. All of those are very affordable, although they sometimes are more expensive than I wish they were. You know, I'm not that snobby. I'm just a little snobby. But the thing about Cool Whip is that I'm already on the tangent about it, and I just don't think it's good. No, it's fine. To my international viewers, Cool Whip is a sort of artificial whipped cream. It's me, Mario. It's me, Mario. I like the Cool Whip. It's nice. You put it on the pie. I knew a guy from Jersey, and he called himself by his name, but he called everybody he called Mario, and he insisted that was the way to do it. As if the video game didn't clearly tell you how. And every time I say Mario properly, according to Jersey, I think about Jersey and all the interesting times we had together. Not really, it was college, and I was drinking. I don't remember a ton about Jersey. I don't even know if he was a nice guy. He probably wasn't. It doesn't matter. No, I'm not. I'm just playing Jersey. You were alright. You didn't know how to say Mario, though. It's like a guy from New Jersey comes to Arkansas to go to college and can't even say Mario right. Like, come on. I thought we were supposed to be the ignorant ones. I will say I never thought I would have a mustache to rival one of the Mario brothers, but it is, I've been growing the mustache about as long as I've been growing this field of wheat, as it happens. I think I've had the mustache, like, the whole time since I've been back streaming, which would have been in, like, June. Or streaming/making videos. So the mustache is slightly longer than the wheat field, but the wheat field also, you know, like, it's a lot easier to grow the wheat than the mustache. With my job being around fire, you know, I'm a cook, but there's still fire, and, you know, the mustache is ill-protected from it. I'm always afraid when I lean forward, and it might be the last time that one of my marvelous strands is there, because you can't see. Do I lean forward to the camera to demonstrate the mustache? I think I will. You know, I don't even know if you can see that, but you know, you can just sort of you know, it's a lot of mustache. I probably just had my hand in front of the camera. That was to demonstrate the length of the mustache. I don't know how. You know, yes, something longer than the wheat field, but because it is brown and or you know, grayish too, but I can't prove it. I refuse to take pictures. I know you're saying, is not a video a continuous series of images? Well, no, not in a way that's relevant to me, it isn't. But yeah, sometimes when the mustache is annoying me, which isn't always, like I said, I haven't always worn one in life. This isn't the first mustache I've ever had, but it was just like a couple years ago when I started having them. And I'm like an old person, right? I'm 38. So I spent a lot of time not having a mustache, although I did have a beard, which is like having a mustache that's in disguise. But you often wouldn't consider that, but you know, what is a beard other than a disguise for a mustache? Just as a mustache is a disguise for a face. It's a mustache is a mustache. I am relatively given to talking about it. I like it a lot. I think it looks dumb, but in the fun way. The first mustache I had, oh, it was great. My one of my nieces saw me, and they don't live around here. They live a couple hours away, so she was surprised. She looked at me and then she said hello, and then she like looked away like she was embarrassed. And I was like, "What's wrong?" She's like, "No, I don't want to say it." I'm like, "You think I look silly?" And she just like turns so red and starts laughing. I'm like, "I do look silly. You're supposed to notice." You say I'm about to beat Technobade by planting wheat. I don't think I understand the reference. You planted 500 million potatoes? My goodness, that's impressive. Well, let's look at my statistics. I'm nowhere near there. So we have used 198,000 wheat seeds ever. And picked up 234,000 of them. So that's what that is. You know, when you look at the stats for other items, it's not as many. The sand, the 50k sand, that's really just a couple groups of sand over and over. I was filling in this ocean monument and then I got bored of it. After all, I wasn't filling it in with wheat. Maybe I'll go back someday and do it. I doubt it. I was doing that before I started playing hardcore. And after I played hardcore, I basically stopped doing everything in this world except for planting wheat. You say tech was insane, no, in a good way. I think anyone who plants 500 million potatoes is insane in an awesome way. Sounds like my kind of guy. Because, I mean, this is just 200,000 in, like 6 months, right? Well, no, I don't really think I started this field until, like July. So, like, 5 months. Oh, he's not with us anymore. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Sounds like he will be missed. Yeah, I don't have like any familiarity with Minecraft YouTubing or anything besides certain famous scandals that we're not going to go into, but they're famous ones. But if Carl Jobs has made a video about it, then I know about it, probably. Except his Hades video, which popped up in my recommendations, and I had watched 30 seconds of it, and I remembered, oh yeah, he made that video a couple years ago, and it came on, and then I turned it off because I wanted to play Hades, that I didn't want to be spoiled. And then, it was good stuff. And I was glad that I didn't watch the video because I would have learned too much. You come on, I can open stuff. This is Java. Can you not offhand in Bedrock? I played for like a couple, maybe like 200 hours in Bedrock before I switched over to Java. But I am not any kind of expert. I know that I love the F3 screen a lot, and that it has saved me many a misery. On Bedrock, you can offhand a totem and fireworks, but the fireworks won't go off for Elytras. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, no, on my I've only beat the game one time on hardcore. I've never beat it on any other difficulty, which is why I don't like having Elytra here, because I just never beat the End Dragon before. And this world existed before, but I mainly just used it on peaceful. But because it's a hardcore world that I have the Elytra on, I always have the totem in my offhand, and then rockets in the main hand. It's like my usual fly around build. I've never crashed into something hard enough to die with the Elytra, but I've got like 340 days in that hardcore world, and which actually had just passed my earlier longest hardcore world at 334. It must have done that yesterday, and I didn't even notice, or the day before. A shield, oh, you know, I use a shield sometimes at the very beginning of a hardcore world, and then sometimes to prove that I know how. I'm so bad. I say I'm bad. I mean, you know, I beat the game on hardcore, but when you watch me fight creepers and you realize that I literally won't fight them with a melee weapon because I'm too dumb to figure out how to do it right, you'll be like, oh, at least he knows how to plant wheat. Everybody's got something, I guess. Because the shield's fine. I mean, it's really good for some stuff, but if it's not early game and you're protecting yourself from skeletons, or late game and you're proving that you know how to block a creeper blast, then, like, what's the point of a shield? Just tank the hit and shoot them with your bow. Even on hard, skeletons don't hit that hard once you got armor and protection levels. I mean, I do use a shield at the beginning. You're gonna go to bed, Living Theater? Well, good night. Thanks for stopping by. Glad to have you hang out and witnessing the wheat field. It was nice to meet you. You know, I'm not convinced leaving that outcropping in the middle there is for the best. But for the aesthetic of the wheat field, it'll probably be nice. Especially if we irrigated the middle, but I left my buckets in a chest somewhere, which is fine. Because when it's irrigated, the earth looks much more more red, which is particularly aesthetically pleasant when you can see the sides of it. I need to get foot pedals. Not like for racing games, just like a pedal to click on with my foot that'll be like, this is a right click and this is a left click. Because I've thought about this so much. I wanted them for push to talk when I played WoW. But if I just had like a pedal for plant, you know, and I could just move, that would be good. Get like a whole keyboard mapped out with the WASD for my left foot, and then the right foot click. And then I could just slam my foot on the ground rather than use my hands. Then I could play twice as much video games. Alright, it's time to get seeds again. And no, we are not gathering them this way. We're just clearing some land while we're at it. This is not a way to get seeds. I mean, you can technically get them, but oh man, does it take too long. Now, because of Fortune, when they drop, it'll be like big chunks of them, but it would still, like, no. You clear this whole field and you may not even get a full inventory of seeds. And if you can't get 7,000 seeds from doing something, no, I think a full inventory is just what, like 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, pathetic. The clearing of land is the least dramatic thing in farming, but the most important. If you don't clear a savanna, you can't plant. They don't tell you that in farming elementary school. That's the upper level stuff there. I assure you, you don't want to be cutting your furrow down into the good earth and then realizing that you still got a bunch of scrub grass to clear. Ain't gonna work. The seeds that it drops are not going to be wheat seeds like in this game. They'll be the other kind, the bad kind. They'll grow more grass. Minecraft VR, more like exercise. Oh, that would be terrible, like having to lean down and run around. I mean, it seems fine for a bit. No, I've never played VR stuff, not really. I played the Virtual Boy, which was sort of like a VR headset that Nintendo made in the 90s. There's buttons to it, but you can also swing your arms, basically a gem. I remember when Skyrim made its thing where you could physically, like, yell at the television and be like, Fus Rota! And if you enunciated it properly, then you in the game would shout. But I guess if your accent was bad, then you wouldn't. But I always say that I'll get into VR someday. I'm just waiting for it to be better. But, because I hate to be, like, slow to adopt a video game technology. I don't care about any of the other applications for it, and I don't care if anybody else does either. Maybe somebody thinks it'll be a good way to sell people stuff, but I only care about it for the video game aspect. I know most people that are developing it want to use it to take people's money, which to me is the least interesting part of any technology, but to the people developing it is often the most interesting. Funny how that works. But no, this would be more like the anti Minecraft exercise machines. So instead of actually using my hands, I could just plump my foot down on the ground where it's resting already, thanks to you know, the orientation of the chair. And you know, I got to give it up for the planet. Without Earth, I don't know if my foot would be on the ground. And then, you know, beyond that, maybe the sun. Sun's got a lot to do with it. You know, Earth's got gravity, but it doesn't do a lot on its own. Can't give it too much credit. I was supposed to get more seeds, but then I got so many seeds, it was only like 250. I was like, oh, well, you know what? Why not keep planting? Playing Minecraft the way that it was intended all along, by bashing down seeds out of grass in order to plant vast wheat fields. I assume that was what was on the box originally. I don't have one to use as a reference. All right. How are we looking? Oh my goodness, we have made such progress. We did basically all of that. Well, a lot of this, not all of it. Yeah, you know, it's nothing fancy. Nothing too crazy. Just good, honest farming. Oh. Well, time for one last tour. Then I'm going to call this video. Made our little stair step there. It's also an irrigated stairwell, which is nice. It's so fancy. Isn't it? Whoa, yeah. I flew in through the ground again and it scared me. But we're getting, we've got a lot of this upper area irrigated, and so much of it's cleared. It's just a matter of getting the seeds and continuing onward. Because that's not so far to go. When you consider what we've already done, I mean, it's a lot, sure. But one thing is certain. We'll have the strength for it. We'll have the focus. The wheat's not going to grow itself after all. And just as all this wheat was put down, so too more in the distance will be. Far beyond where we can see, there will be wheat. Wheat today, wheat forever. And it's just, it's on us to make it happen. And I think we'll be the equal to the task. Because the important thing with wheat is, you gotta believe in yourself. Some people will tell you, I don't get it. Other people will tell you, that's too much wheat. They won't tell you that. You won't even be able to hear them. You'll be distracted by the gentle rustling of wheat, the happy rustling of electronic music, and the gentle sounds of 200,000 wheat shoots bursting through the air. There'll be no time to hear any criticism, only time for wheat. But thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I might bash out a Hades run here in a bit. I'm not sure though. I might just play it not on stream to try to do better. But anyway, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Bye, Natasha. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you later.